What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Today it is time for the Week 7 Premier League predictions. Now, as I am still away on holiday, I will not be able to bring you my Champions League match week game day 1 predictions, but going from game week 2 through to 6 and then the knockout stages, I will be doing Champions League predictions. I just couldn't fit in the Champions League video, which would have to go up today on the 5th as I'm recording this, and then the Premier League video, which would have to go up on the 6th. Tomorrow. So I'm not going to be doing Champions League for match week 1, but I will be going after that. Also today, please do drop a like on the video. Let's try and smash 300 likes, because at the time of recording, game week 6 has 290 likes. And I know we can get to 300. If you're watching this right now, just click like. We're less than 300 subscribers away from 22,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate all of the support. And with that being said, on this video, I'm going to give 5 tips. So for one of every 2 games, I'm going to be giving a tip, and I've got 5 decent ones. I've left out some games in terms of tips that I think might be a bit hard to call. So these 5 tips I've got are, in my opinion, some of the best ones I've come up with for this week. Now, game week 6, there was a lot of interesting fixtures, results, and obviously, elephant in the room, I've got my Arsenal top on, the Man United-Arsenal game. Arsenal still top of the league thanks to Man City dropping points, but Arsenal unlucky not to get anything out of the game. I think a 2-2 draw would have been a fair result. Arsenal had their fair share of chances. They actually had a higher XG than Man United, but obviously XG isn't everything, and Man United managed to hit Arsenal on the counter. It is what it is. It happens in football. All in all, I'm not disappointed with the way Arsenal played. That's the main thing, and given on another day, Arsenal could have won as well. So either way, it is what it is. But let's get straight in to game week 7. Kicking it off, we do have Fulham up against Chelsea. Now, this one's going to be a very, very interesting one. If I go back to my notes actually quickly and just see what I had for previous game weeks, because I'm doing this, obviously I've got my travel set up, so everything's a little bit mental, a little bit crazy. But last game week, Fulham played Tottenham and Chelsea played West Ham. I predicted a 2-2 draw between Chelsea and West Ham, and the majority of the football world agree that it should have been a 2-2 draw. But in the end, they actually just made a mistake with VAR, and Chelsea took a 2-1 win. I think Chelsea are going to win against Fulham at Craven Cottage, but it's going to be very, very close indeed. I could see Mitrovic scoring and Fulham losing. So that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for Fulham to score through Alexander Mitrovic, no less, and Chelsea to just scrape a win. I'm going to go 2-1. I predicted what I think should have been a 2-2 draw between Chelsea and West Ham. I think Chelsea are a little bit, better than Fulham at this point, most certainly. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Chelsea. Kicking it off after that, we have Bournemouth up against Brighton, and my first tip of the video. Bournemouth, how they managed to come back from 2-0 down and beat Nottingham Forest 3-2 is beyond me. You see Forest go 2-0 up against Bournemouth, you think, there we go. It's gonna happen how everyone expected it, and then what a second half team performance from Bournemouth to get them their 2nd win of the season. They're still going to get relegated, but still, what a start. I think Bournemouth are going to lose this game against Brighton. Brighton, one of the top form teams. There's the big 6 in the Premier League, taking up 6 of the top 7 spots, and then Brighton right in the middle in, I believe, 4th place, performing brilliantly well. So I'm going to go for a Brighton win here. I know Bournemouth is a tough place to go, and most teams go in there. I wouldn't predict a win, but Brighton, give them their respect. They're in the Champions League spots because they deserve to be, and I think they're going to be able to beat Bournemouth. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Brighton, and my first tip of the video, Brighton to win at 1.75. I tipped Brighton to beat Leicester at 1.95. I see them being able to do this here as well, even though the Vitality Stadium is a hard place to go. Now after that, we have Leicester up against Aston Villa, a game where I have another tip, so stay tuned. I'm actually going to go for a bit of a shock result here. I'm actually going to go for a Leicester win. I know, crazy, especially after Aston Villa managed to get a point off Manchester City and Leicester got absolutely thumped by the previously mentioned informed Brighton, 5-2. I think Leicester are actually just going to pull a result out here somewhere. My tip is not in the result market because I'm not certain of that. It could go either way, but Aston Villa haven't looked great this season. Leicester obviously haven't. I think they're the only team without a win in the Premier League. I think they might be the only team left yet to get a win. Everton might not have a win. I think Everton are also winless, but they've actually picked up 4 draws. So Leicester and Everton are the only teams yet to get a win here. I'm going to go with Leicester to get a win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Leicester, but my tip is both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 2.1. That's the tip I would have given for the Leicester and Brighton game, had I not said Brighton would win outright as my tip, because Leicester games always have goals. There were 7 in that Brighton one. I think Leicester can contribute to this game. Aston Villa will score as well. Both teams scored over 2.5 goals at 2.1. After that, we move to Anfield for Liverpool up against Wolves. I've gone fairly low scoring, just on the basis that it is Wolves, and also Liverpool, barring the 9-0 destruction of Bournemouth, are yet to really click. Obviously, they're yet to really have a great performance away from home. They got that draw against Everton, and at times Everton looked like they were the team that could have gone on and won the game. They had the disallowed goal and everything as well. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Liverpool. It's hard to look beyond anything. There's not much value in this game. You could look at Liverpool under 3.5 goals, but I haven't gone for an official tip here for that one. After that, another game with an official tip. It's Southampton up against Brentford. Both teams not starting off terribly, I would say. I think this is going to be a very exciting game. Southampton, whilst I don't know if I'm being optimistic here, saying they'll score twice. It is difficult to see where the goals will come from. I think James Ward-Prowse would have to pop up with something, maybe Che Adams as well. But I'm actually going to go for a 2-2 draw between the two teams. I think Brentford are well worth 2 goals away from home here. If anything, look towards Brentford double chance or something. But Southampton have been actually nicking points here and there throughout the season where I wasn't perhaps expecting it. And whilst Wolves-Southampton was a low-scoring game like I expected, I just get a funny feeling at home Southampton are going to score a couple. Don't know why. They're not great going forward, but we're going to go 2-2. My tip is over 2.5 goals at 1.8. Brentford could go and win 3-0 for all I care, and Ivan Toney could get on the score sheet again. Now after that, what is probably one of the games of the week, it's going to be Manchester City up against Tottenham. No tip for this one, but I think Man City are going to win. Yes, there's Champions League football, but Tottenham equally have to worry about it. They Pep seems to have used Erling Haaland well in terms of playing, in the sense that he'll take him off after 60 or 70 minutes if the game's wrapped up. And he's played 2 lots of full 90 minutes, and that was in the 3-3 draw against Newcastle, in which he scored to help them, and the 1-1 draw against Aston Villa, in which he scored to help them get that draw as well. So it seems to be use Haaland if you have to, but if the game's won, you can rest him a little bit. So I think he is going to start again against Tottenham because it's an important game. Tottenham unbeaten, Man City unbeaten, the only 2 unbeaten teams left in the league. I'm going to go for a City win. I'm going to go for a 3-2. Who knows? It could be 3-0, could be a Tottenham win, but I'm going to go for a 3-2 win to Manchester City. I just didn't think there was a lot of value. Maybe in the over 2.5 goals of both teams to score market might be the best place to look at because Tottenham could do something here. After that, it is Arsenal up against Everton at the Emirates. I've got my next tip for you here. I think Arsenal, if they play the way they played against Manchester United and played the way they've been playing all season and pre-season, they will be fine against an Everton side that have been struggling, an Everton side that are yet to win. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Arsenal. It's rare that I back Arsenal with such conviction, and I've even done so in my tip. The only thing I see perhaps going against a 3-0 scoreline is if Everton score once, but I think Arsenal could score 3 if they keep playing the way they've been playing, if we stay injury-free, and if we get Thomas Partey back as well. I mean, oh my goodness, it's going to be what a team it is. But I think they're playing great football this season. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to the Gunners, and my tip is Arsenal -1 at 1.95. So yeah, Arsenal -1 handicap, 1.95. That shows my faith and belief in this Arsenal side. After that, it's West Ham up against Newcastle. Newcastle, I mean, good start to the season. What can you say? I think it's going to be a close one. West Ham, although they haven't started the season fantastically, they were the last team to actually score a goal, the team that took the longest to score a goal in the Premier League. I think West Ham have got a decent run of fixtures now. If we're talking FPL, I wouldn't turn anyone away from Mikel Antonio for the next few weeks. But I think there's going to be a close one. I think both teams will score. Newcastle have been looking good, though. I think at St James's Park, I'd probably opt for a 2-1 Newcastle win. I'm going to sit on the fence and go for a 1-1 draw. Speaking of 1-1 draw, I actually did correctly predict in the last video that Thogdad would predict a 1-1 draw between Arsenal and United. And Theo, with the 2-2, I think, although it was 3-1, I think it was probably a good prediction. I think Arsenal were well worth a point in that game. But nevertheless, we move on to Crystal Palace up against Manchester United. This is going to be a really interesting one. Palace have been giving good accounts of themselves this season, and Manchester United are... there's a difference now. When they were winning games under Ollie, it wasn't the same vibe as it is now. Man United, not so much against Arsenal, but certainly against Liverpool, actually look good. So put it this way, I think Man United deserve the 3 points more against Liverpool than they did against Arsenal. And I wouldn't say that's biased. I wouldn't even say that's recency bias. I think Man United thoroughly outplayed Liverpool. I wouldn't say they outplayed Arsenal, but they got them on the break when it mattered. And they actually look good. When they got these wins under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it was a bit smash and grab. It didn't look great. But under Erik ten Hag, new signings embedded in, it's actually looking good. I'm going to go for a Man United win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Manchester United. And my final tip of the video, both teams to score at 1.61. I definitely think Crystal Palace can get on the score sheet at Selhurst Park. And I do think Man United are. The way they played against Arsenal and Liverpool means they can get goals. They definitely can. Whether it's counter-attack or not, they can get goals with the likes of Eriksen in the midfield, who looked really good. I think they can get at least one goal, right? And the final game, it's Leeds up against Nottingham Forest. I wasn't sure which way to go for this one. Leeds kind of falling off a little bit, but I do think Leeds are gonna... I've gone for a draw. I was tempted to go for a Leeds win. I was going to go for a 2-1 Leeds win, but something tells me Nottingham Forest kind of almost viewing Leeds as a bit of a championship opponent, as they were for many, many years. Think maybe they've got a little bit of a number on Leeds and will be able to get something from this game. This one's more of a gut feeling rather than any sort of real logic, but sometimes that's just as effective, because if you go with your head for every prediction, you're going to get 3 out of 10 at least wrong every week, really, aren't you? So if you go with your gut for some of them, you might get rewarded. I'm going to do that here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between the two teams. Both teams to score will probably happen as well. But my main 5 tips, if we review quickly: Brighton to win, both teams scoring over 2.5 goals in the Leicester Villa game, over 2.5 goals in the Southampton-Brentford game, Arsenal -1 handicap, and both teams to score in the Palace-Man United game. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for the Week 7 Premier League predictions. No Champions League, as I said, but the next video it'll be either a Champions League Week 2 predictions or Premier League Week 8 predictions, and I will be back at home at my regular setup then, so I won't have to do this, this travelling malarkey anymore. So I'm excited for that. I hope you do enjoy these videos. Leave a like, leave your predictions down in the comments, because I will be picking one out to be featured in the next video. It's just a lot harder to do it when I'm away travelling. I try and keep this process as simple as possible. But that is going to do it from me, and I'll see you in that next video very soon.